waiting for it to go. How do I sound? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Alright. The Elgato is very loud. Let's mix some stuff around. You're gonna hear an echo for a second. Hello world. Welcome to our wonderful time playing Final Fantasy 14. 14? Final Fantasy episode intermission. My autosave got messed up, so I don't know how far back we are. My autosave got messed up because I went back and I defeated Chadley in Fort Condor, which you can just watch it on my YouTube. My YouTube, that is a very modest channel. But if you're curious to know how that went out, you can just go to twitch.tv. You know what? Twitch, I can't talk. Oh my gosh. I'm so exhaustedly brain dead. You can just look up Heather Alexandra on Twitter. On YouTube. What the hell is happening? I don't know. So I don't know where this save file is in terms of where it will place us. I feel like it's possible we might have to do the Scarlet fight again, but otherwise it's more deep ground is what happened. We were attacked by deep ground. And now it's time to probably do what's the last hour? Not a lot. I really didn't put a lot of time into Sonon's weapons for proficiencies, but I didn't really feel the need compared to the stuff that I did with Yuffie and getting some of her stuff. Oh, Scarlet, she just like is straight up commanded deep ground. It's Nero! Nero the Sable. A character from Final Fantasy Dirge of Cerberus. So if you're playing this, you just don't know who these people are. You have no clue who Nero the Sable is or Vice the Immaculate. And to be fair, they're kind of stupid characters, and Dirge of Cerberus is absolute garbage. Garbage that I love, but also kind of garbage. Nero's big deal is that he has like weird darkness powers. It's very ill-defined. It's just he is a Kingdom Hearts villain with the power of darkness. There must be a lore reason why he has this, but most people in Deep Ground are pretty normal, or relatively normal. Azul, the Cerulean, is just big and has a gun. Rosso, the Crimson, is just like a really good swords fighter. They're just like weird anime sword villains. And then Vice, the Immaculate, has friggin' fancy shit. And then, for whatever reason, Nero just has nighttime powers. I'm just running until I can do some assess on them, because I don't know what these are. Ice Week. Although relatively weak to just normal stuff too. Ice Ninjutsu is one of my things that's not on my hotbar, which is fine. There we go. The way that these later games have leaned into like data spaces just being a thing that can do stuff is like, that also feels very Kingdom Hearts to me, right? That's not even their weakness. It's assess has been so useful this playthrough in a way that I've not been prepared for. They don't have any elemental weaknesses, so it hardly matters. How'd I take damage there? Oh, poison. They have poison damage. Do I have antidotes? I do. Oh, they got me with a grab. It's heartbreaking. It's so funny to have those initial combat against the wolves in this DLC where it's like they hit hard and it didn't feel great. And now everything just largely flows. Yuffie might be the most entertaining character to play. Although Cloud's pretty decent. These are just going to be weak to fire. Just in a general sense, right? Fire just like tore that guy apart. There's just like a ton of oh, poison. Well, let's see what their deal is first. Ice. Ice is like, it sucks. Ice is one of the only ones I don't have on a hotbar. We can try and keep our distance here. There we go. The arm, it's not taking a lot of the weaknesses, but other stuff seems to be the case. Ooh, that's scary. That grab right there was a lot to deal with. A thing that I've found interesting is that they've not played in this DLC at all the traditional battle theme besides the slightest hints of it. The very slightest hints of it. Yeah, I knew that might get hit there. Oh, he might go down. Yeah. Let's finish up big with Ramu. Just because I think it would be fun. Is it 2-bar to use? Or just the one? Just the one. Yeah, finish him off. There we go. It's our good friend Ramu, who beat us up like a ton of times until I finally was like, I'll come back to it. Yeah, there it is. This thing is almost assuredly weak to lightning, because it's machine-based. Oh, it put up its shield again. Oh, it's just gonna be kind of like this, huh? Almost like a phase. Multiple phases. Yeah, let's synergize with the Ramu bolts. Right? We can get in one more. Summons in this game are gnarly. But I feel like, I mean, that's a natural extension of what they were doing in 15, where you had less direct control over them in 15, which I think made them feel a bit more like their own entities, but also, you know, this should get it here. Let's see if we can hit it with some synergized. There we go. I was like, what if we used one of our big attacks?
Now can we please get out of here already?
Exciting, exciting. I want to check one thing on my laptop before we continue. There we go, perfect. Spells. Well, we have the MP to spare, and I don't know what fights are up ahead. And I get the sense that none of them are going to be fun. Oh, that's right, there's a bench there. Well, I mean, again, that's all that... This happened last night. All that is wasted MP. It's not going to cost me anything, right? Get the MP back. Buy whatever items we can. Because we are... It feels like we're fastly approaching what will be something resembling a path of no return, a point of no return. Right. Although I think if Sonon has... like his affinities filled out here, we might be able to swap. Yeah. That's just more straight up damage, and he's not like a magical user, so we can swap him over. And maybe see if there's any extra materia that might work out well. Get him some ATB at the start of battle. We're gonna have to do a lot of weapon upgrading though. So we need to go and do everybody's favorite activity going into what's essentially the sphere grid. If anybody's in chat, you can say hello, by the way. This episode is so short. How short is it? It's so short that new materia slot? No, I'd rather take the raw damage. Like, this is very strategic point spending because I'm just not maxing everything out. I've not been guarding well against enemies. Max MP, I'm not consuming a lot of MP in battle either. Let me see what I can do just for raw attack boosts. Right? I'd rather just have more attack at the moment than anything else. We might be able to do something here. Magic attack is up. More materia slots. That gives us some HP when things are deleted in battle. The thing that's going to be trickier is going to be Sonon right here. And I feel like there's a way to just fast do it, which feels like I'm cheating, but I wouldn't mind doing that. But mostly we're going to fill out pretty much all of his, or as much of his little spheres as we can. Because if he already has like a pretty strong base attack power, like that's fine by me, right? Let's get these base attack powers up as much as we can. And then we can fill out the rest later, right? Because his big thing has not been like magical assistance or whatever. It's been much more focused on just being around to deal out raw damage. So this looks about where we're going to be. Which is mostly fine by me. Yeah. We're at a point where, like, I don't know how endgamey we are, but we're definitely, like, we've beaten up a lot of bad guys, so. How do I leave this room? Can I hit the button? There we go. The thing wasn't showing up. I was like, can I just leave the room? Oh, dead people. Dead bodies. Yeah, we're definitely this is like her equivalent of
I don't like the looks of this.
the Sephiroth blood trail, which I guess became such an icon. Like, I don't know, it's such so funny for this to be, oh, he's just there. We're just in boss fight town, I think.
Subjects on site. It's time.
For those of you who don't know, Deep Ground is just like Shinra's super secret soldier program. There's Soldier, which is like the high class of like Mako infused dudes that they make for their main army, and then there's Deep Ground, which is just like, what if we turned people into gnarly weird shit? Of course, when the original game was made, Deep Ground wasn't a thought in any writer's mind.
Aren't you all on the same team?
There are no teams in Deep Ground.
Deep ground.
This is interesting because it ties her into stuff that would happen in Dirge in like this timeline, because to be fair, this is a different timeline than the main stuff. I'm surprised how much they've gone
Can't blame a girl.
into
Let the games begin.
I'm surprised how much they've really gone into having the alternate timelines, or like the other stuff from the compilation in here, which I never would have expected it. No clear weaknesses. Those are Let's draw him in and just go to town. What's he doing? He's not hitting exceptionally hard, but it's more just a matter of... I'm not somebody who will... Like, I don't understand Yuffie's parries as well as I'd like. Whereas Cloud's parrying makes a ton of sense because it happens during his stance change, which is really easy to time, and I find... But, like, for Yuffie's, it's like, you have to snap it up. Right away, and I'm sure if I play heading further into things, I'll understand it a little better, but I don't at the moment. We'll get there. And I know they added Vice the Immaculate as like a data battle, but I don't know if I can access it as Yuffie and Sonon. I know I can access it in the main game, which makes me curious about whether or not I should transfer over my PS4 save, which I didn't hear because I'm just going to replay the game. So I don't know. I'll have to think about it.
Where were we?
Don't know what this crap is, but it's definitely not good.
Oh, ow. Is that damage over time? Feels it. Oh yeah, that is just tons of damage over time. If I get hit. Ah, yeah, damn. That's an interesting way to deal with it. He's pressured though. We should go in. Get in the hits while we can. I'm curious if any elemental stuff happens during phase changes, but it okay, it doesn't. Oh. Whew. Yeah, he does. I need to spend on healing. Shit. Sonon might get knocked out here, so I want to really work at it. We'll get the summon going and a couple other things. And I'm going to try not to use photo mode, even though, like, so I did at the end of last night, because first off, I was sleepy, and secondly, I just wanted cool photos. I can play through this again on my own time on, like, hard mode eventually and get photo stuff going. We should get Ramu going. This feels like phase 3 or phase 2-ish. We gotta get Sonon up. I'm gonna take some damage there for it, but it's like whatever. Oh, Sonon automatically used one of his abilities. He stopped using some of his other stuff. Ow. It really hurts. Shit, where is he? We're close to a limit break on Yuffie though, so this could be like, we went in here with a decent amount of preparation, so this could be a fairly easy fight, all things considered, right? Yuffie, use your potion that I just told you to use. Yuffie, please don't die here to like some attack that I can't. Alright, well, fuck you. Yeah, he just did a big bit of, oh, the poison here is gonna get me. Yep. Sonun's ability is interesting because it, oh shit. Not my favorite situation to be in. I wish I had some sort of mega elixir. Because now we're just playing back and forth on our revives. We were doing very well. That's not well. This is actually, the poison from this is probably going to kill me. Yeah. I bet you it puts me at the start of the battle too. That's fine. It's one of the, yeah, it's like one of the last fights of the game, so I don't hate it, even though there's got to be a better way. These first parts we can definitely just like have a lot of pressure going, which is nice. He has a longer stretch of time on that last melee attack chain in that first phase. Can you even skip these? I'm wondering. So we'll get there. It's they introduced like the poison mechanic definitely caught me off guard. That's kind of cool. Makes sense. This is a Square Enix sin, and it happens during Final Fantasy XIV as well. And it's very cinematic and very cool, but also sometimes cutscenes in the middle of a boss fight. Like, if I die again, it'll definitely be this situation of just waiting for him to drop down. So we can Art of War him. Like, let's just really go at it. And then I know attacks are coming. Right. And I want to maintain a lot of pressure, and then I also want to get... I wish there was a barrier material, but I never found one. I mean, maybe there is one, right? But it's definitely like the first time you play through anything, there's probably someone who's like, well, you didn't go down that corner to the right, so you don't have Shell and Protect or Mana Ward. And it's like, dude, I have no clue. This is a cool fight, though. It's just... what a random... I know he doesn't really have elemental weaknesses, but I'm hoping that we can do a little bit of fun stuff with him here. Ah, damn. Sonen's in pretty good shape, though. I did find some Deep Run kids. We're gonna finish up. I died on my first attempt here, but mostly because I just didn't... I feel like I didn't fully understand... Well, what they do is they add a poison thing to his, to this part of the fight. So if you're getting in contact with him pretty much at all, you're getting got by poison. Like, doesn't matter to me too much there because I have spells. But the downside here is that we just gotta, like, really... just commit to the bit. Sonnen will have his limit break soon, though. Excuse me. We didn't have, yeah, like, see, this sucks. Is like, just a portion of time where all I'm doing is taking, unavoidable damage over time. Or some version of, like, damage over time for a while, it feels like. So it's a little, surprising. We'll have Sonnen use his, I don't have a lot of good options for breaking through those defenses, except maybe at range. But I definitely want to get my butt up. My buddy, and then I want to definitely summon Ramu. But Sonen's so fragile right now, just because every time he revives, he's got such little health. But yeah, see, that's the end of the fight right there. So we're close. So we'll get it in like the next one or so. But that end phase is intense because it's a lot of room-wide stuff. Not unavoidable room-wide stuff, but just a little tricky to catch up to. There are cutscenes in between battle, but the good news is that we mostly have it down. So it's not, you know, when we were fighting the Ramu, we were fighting Ramu earlier in the last session. And I just wasn't doing well. And we went back to it later. In this case, it's like, you know, we're basically there. I'm trying to do it my parry, which I shouldn't try and do on a final boss fight with a parry that's this finicky. There we go, we did it. So like these first phases are like, so we can definitely like push through those first phases pretty easy. It's that last phase that's a little confusing for me right now. The parry was nice to get. I still think that Cloud's parry is way easier to do than Yuffie's, which I guess makes sense, but... But I wish there was a little bit more going on there. Or I kind of wish that if you were switching some stance stuff from melee to ninjutsu, it would just trigger it anyway. Because I feel like that's more natural than hitting R1. And that's how it works largely for Cloud, is you're going from guard stance to attack stance. And if anybody strikes you on the transition, you get the parry. Which just feels more satisfying. It's like a better... like, I'm not somebody who usually talks about, like, that sort of game design decision stuff too much, but... That's gonna grab me, though. The downside to that was I was, there, so what you saw was I was animation locked. Which is a bummer. So when I did that Art of War attack, so like this attack, if he goes into some of his stuff there, it's a little trickier. Well, what if we tried fire while I'm out here like this? I don't know, like, we're just beating him in a corner. I don't know why Sonen's ATB charge is moving so slow, but it is. He's gonna get grabbed. Side quest Sean says, "What's up, y'all?" Not much, buddy. I say buddy. I don't know if I've seen you in chat before. These chats are very small sometimes. Sometimes they can get really big. If I'm streaming the right thing, the chat size gets very large. And then sometimes it's just 5 on a Saturday and I want to stream some stuff because I did some work earlier today and now I want to do some other shit. Sonnen... I just want him ready. Can I bat him down from the air? while I heal. We didn't fully synergize there, but that's fine. He's gonna hit me there. Let's preemptively do some healing. Sonen's limit will come in, Summit will come in. We just really need to survive that final phase, which gets hectic? Gets a little hectic. This is vaguely better than where we've been before. I mean, this is... I get the sense that this is essentially the final boss of the DLC, so... I don't have a good notion of why Sonen's ATB is so super spotty, though. This is like a beam that I gotta dodge. This might give me the time I need, though. Might not, though. Damn! Like, that's hard hitting. No, that's it. That's the end of the fight. That final phase is really brutal. Vice is, I think, an extra battle. So, I mean, if I die here again, which I did, which is a bummer. So this is what, like, attempt 4 or something? It's just the final boss fight. I feel bad because I always want my, my streams to be me, like, kicking a ton of ass. Trying to do my parry again. But we can just get him in the corner here, and like these first phases are like pretty easy, and then he starts cutting loose. It was tempting to play through this on easy just to get the story, but I actually think coming back here, like the first fight of this expansion are just these wolves, and they hit surprisingly hard. So it was a good reminder to like just get back into the rhythm of the combat, because once you're in it, it feels pretty good. The only difference is Yuffie is very fragile, which makes sense, and I wish I had a little bit more control over Sonon, which I don't quite. I'm going to try and use some synergized abilities here to get in bigger damage sooner. So, you know, dying a couple times doesn't matter. Then later I might stream Guilty Gear, which is going to be the most embarrassing thing you've ever seen, because I barely know how to fight. I barely know how to fight. I'm not an expert on fighting game by any stretch of the imagination, right? Yeah, this will get us into pressure territory. Let's get in here. And then synergized Art of War, which didn't do as much there because I think we're gonna end up heading towards a phase transition. Ah, damn. Dark Torrent's like this really mixed bag of an attack where it's like, if you stay still, sometimes you can just avoid the majority of it. So like this first half of the boss fight is pretty easy. And then it just becomes a little tricky once he starts pulling out like all of these HP draining abilities. It's not that difficult, but actually I think my difficulty here is the fact that my AI, I can't quite preserve the uptime of my AI partner. That's less of a problem when you have 3 people in your party. When it's a duo, it's a little bit more complicated. And I think a lot of my solution here is largely, hey, let's keep relatively distant. Although I want oh, that's gonna hurt, yeah. But Sonon's not in the worst place. I'm actually gonna have him heal himself. So, you know, the only, like, there's a few things I care about in these games, and I think one of them is having a little bit more agency over my characters in the follow-up games. But you can see that HP drain is definitely not my favorite thing.
Just stand back. Your boss has got you covered.
Please let me heal before the attack goes out. Please let me heal before the attack goes out. Because he's going to do that, and I'm going to use Yuffie to heal Sonon again. So this ends up being basically the last phase of the boss fight that I have. Anything resembling difficulty over, but you can see where the difficulty comes from because it comes from to a certain extent, the degree to which Sonon is not really able to keep a lot of uptime of his own going on. It's nice to have him as just like a second ATB bar, but I feel like some other characters are sometimes a little more reliable. Fuck you. We win. There we go. Definitely was a little bit of touch and go in those first attempts. It's a fun fight once you understand the gimmick.
Gotta tell me twice.
It's definitely weird to see like early Yuffie fighting one of the Sviets, but I don't hate it. I just have, there's this part of me that's always felt that remake should be really, really unshackled from the expectations of any of compilation of Final Fantasy VII, which means like
Don't want to spoil the moment, but
the additions of Nero and then the Vice fight feel a little strange to me.
You win.
And then it's like they did some before Crisis referencing, which is fine because you can keep that kind of vague. But the other thing that'll get me is the minute, like, they won't do it because I don't know how they would do it so early, but like if there was an allusion to like the notion of remnants and like Kadaj and stuff. I don't dislike Kadaj. for a character that's in a pretty dumb movie, he's pretty watchable. Oh, Sonen's gonna die here. That's not Yuffie in the flashback. That's his sister Melfi. So I think we basically finished the DLC. But yeah, I knew this guy. This sounds so mean. When we met him, one of the first things I said, I was like, oh, this guy can't live because I don't know. Because if he's around, he would end up with the main squad. And Yuffie needs to have something happen so that she ends up by herself with the main squad. And in my brain, I was like, well, it's never going to be him like, I have to go back to Wutai now. So this tracks. The interesting thing is that this gives her a more personal connection to Nero, which is kind of neat. Like I said, I don't dislike the use of the Sviets here, and maybe they do it much better in this case, but, you know. But there was definitely, I was like, oh, this guy. I don't dislike him at all, but I was like, I don't know if he'll... I was like, I don't know if he'll make it. The thing is, if what they do is add, not to ruin the moment here, I know they add Vice to the Shinra training thing, but I haven't done my save transfer from my PS4 data to PS5 just because I was like, I'm gonna replay the game anyway. So I don't know. There's this part of me that... Oh, he sees his sister. There's this part of me that I would love to try the Vice fight, but I might not be able to. There might be no means for me to do so. Someone asks, is this boss a Crisis Core character? He's actually a Dirge of Cerberus character. If you don't know, Final Fantasy VII Dirge of Cerberus is a game set after the original Final Fantasy, and it is a shooter starring Vincent Valentine. I think it's a delightfully weird little thing. But a lot of people think Dirge of Cerberus is garbage, and it kind of is. It's kind of trashy, and the story is kind of this cobbled together hodgepodge of very, and this is the one time I'll say it almost derogatory, even though I usually don't mean it, but very anime, like there's like another thing about the world ending and a weapon that's gonna drain all, not a weapon like a generic weapon, but like capital thing weapon that's gonna drain all life to move to another star, and Vincent is actually Chaos, this agent of, like, he's actually like a cosmological being, sort of. It's very weird. Not to talk over this dramatic moment, which is actually being presented quite well. God, FF XIV Remake. They really stepped up their game. Oh, dude. Bummer. I know that's an understatement, but bummer. They really stepped up their game with how much concern they've really had for their characters, how much more willing they've been interested in those internal spaces, and not just Cloud. We see it here with Sonon, but I mean, like, the degree to which that they're willing to explore Yuffie as a character just in this, or in the main game, giving Tifa something of an ideological struggle, even though the writing there is kind of shaky, or like giving us more multifaceted looks at Barrett, or a much more believable defrosting of Cloud. I think Remake has done an exceptionally good job at character work, and whoa, this is the Sector 7 plate drop. Which Scarlet told her about earlier, so she knows what's up. One of the more curious elements of the remake plate drop scene, though, is that they do add Ketchi showing up for 2 seconds, and there's no context, so you just see like a tiny furry cat. And unless you're a fan, like if you're not a fan, you're probably like, what? You know, it's a bit of a mood killer almost. Oh yeah, so this is the end of the DLC, certainly. This was great. This was some really good work with Yuffie. If you're not a fan, really, nothing that happens in Remake makes sense. That is a lie. That's absolutely a lie.
The amazing Yuffie wants you.
The core story absolutely still makes
Join
sense.
her team and the sky's the limit.
Near the end of the game, it starts to go a little off the rails, but if you just approach it from like, oh, this is a metatextual thing, like, I think it's better if you play the original game before playing Remake. I actually don't think it's entirely necessary. I think some people would probably disagree with me on that, but I think if you, like, it doesn't take much to cop onto the fact that a lot of the stuff with the ghost or things like that, like, you don't approach that stuff mentally from an in-lore universe standpoint. You approach them from a pastiche standpoint, a metatextual standpoint, where it's the game commenting upon itself.
Walking the whole way?
Yep.
Hey, it's our buds.
Still pretty far though, isn't it?
Another full day, give or take.
It's interesting to see them again. This is such a good, you know what, I didn't even mention it before.
She means from the time you get up in the morning.
This is such a good character, like, version of Aerith, too.
But for me, it means from
I said Aerith and not Aerith.
all the way through till the time you get up the next morning.
You can tell what generation of gamer I am by the fact that I said Aerith without thinking about it.
That's a relief.
Her writing's been
Is
amazing.
it though?
Cloud, bet you've had to hoof it from sun up to
Like,
sun
Cloud,
down.
they've done a lot of good work for making, like, his changes and
Same old, right?
the
That's right.
trauma in there a little
So, we're all gonna need
well
to
buried,
sacrifice
but, like, you can see him building rapport with these people already, and it builds throughout the original game.
I know.
Not the original game, but through Remake in a way that feels believable.
Don't worry.
But Aerith is just, like, top tier. I was gonna say top tier team player, and I started saying top team boo.
Now breathe in that fresh air.
She's great, and the fact that it's very explicitly a version of Aerith that remembers the original game,
Actually, scratch
mwah, chef kiss. The moment I realized what Remake was doing is one of my favorite moments of playing a video game ever. It just felt
Guess this is goodbye, City of Mako.
exceptionally better. And now, how are they gonna maybe bump into Yuffie? Are they gonna show it? Or is this just to connect us a little bit more? Gameplay recording paused because I entered a blocked scene. What's blocked about this scene? Can you still see this?
Yep, just like that.
Cool.
Yeah, you must be able to still see this. So I guess it just means I can't take screenshots on my console.
No way, a car.
If I had my capture card out, I could just do whatever. I love how much they become friends so quickly. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be Chocobo Billy? Chocobo Bill? Chocobob? Hell yeah. These are good looking chocobos too.
What is it with these damn birds?
Look at him just chilling. Hey.
Sorry about that.
No need to apologize, man.
Chocobo Bill! I guess they won't show Yuffie meeting with them yet. But it's interesting to see that the journey is continuing on. Or maybe they will. I don't know. I thought it was just gonna end right after that scene, like a fade to like whatever's coming next. It's calm.
Look at that. Where's a roof when you need
Calm looks like much more of a city.
Gonna be okay?
it? Should be, but
Oh, I love them.
weird. My stomach's in knots.
That's its way of telling you it's hungry. Let's move.
It's so funny how enduring that these characters have been when the original writing of FF7, at least the English version, is so messy, right? Because that translation, that localization is a mess. Oh, we're jumping to the timeline where Zack is alive. It's weird that we have two parallel timelines running now.
Long time no see. How you been?
His voice actor sounds better here than he did in
Listen. Hey.
the end of Remake. So the question is, was he recast or is it just better voice directing this time? But what's behind that door? Because I bet you it's nothing we bargained for, right? There's always a catch. Yeah. It's so interesting that they're going to have the two
Aerith?
timelines running side by side. That's a unique way to do it. A new foe has been challenged to the combat simulation within the Shinra building. He can be fought by choosing Chapter 17 in the main story. Once the oh yeah, so I would need to transfer my save file to even fight Vice right now, but I can't. New combat simulator challenges have been added to Chapter 2 of Intermission. So I can't do any of this right now, which is a bummer. But what I can do is, can I save? You missed it all. I beat Chadley. Beat Chadley last night. So that's that. I'm going to take like a 3-minute break and I'm going to hop back in with Guilty Gear. You cannot leave the main menu at this time. Wait, what does that message say? You can replay any chapter from the beginning by accessing Chapter Select via the main menu. Well, I saved. Right? The save file is right there. Chapter selection. How do I choose my chapter? It's telling me that I can't. You know what I'm saying? But then the menu here is like very counterintuitive. Like, what if I wanted to play? What if I wanted to swap and play the other thing? This is very weird. Oh, it's down here. Oh, it's hidden under system. So chapter selection would be this. Title screen. So that's the downside. I guess what I'll need to do on my own time, which I think requires me to download the PS4 copy that I have of this game, which who knows if that'll fit on my hard drive, is to download the PS4 version and do some sort of save transfer there. I think I need to have both versions on my hard drive. So I can try that and then in the next week or so try fighting Vice, but I've imagined that that's a really hard-ass fight. Well, that's fine. That was it for now. Like I said, I'll be back in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and you can all laugh at me as I play Guilty Gear. Yeah, that's the thing that bothers me. This, like, there's got to be a tech reason. There's, like, some sort of weird architecture thing going on. But the fact that I have on my cloud right now FF VII Remake save data, and I cannot just download that to my PS5 version is a real bummer. And I'm not somebody who usually does like a console wars type thing, even though I technically work for Microsoft. Right now, I don't even own a PlayStation, not a PlayStation, excuse me, an Xbox Series X, because they're so hard to get, even for me. But one thing I like about what Microsoft does is that they have a fancy term for it. I should know this, but it's basically like you can have that data saved and it'll just transfer over. Like it's like a quick launch, quick feature, which when people announced it, I think when Microsoft announced it, people were kind of like, I don't know about this. This feels like something like, why would you even need that in the age of new consoles? And I guess this kind of, and I love Final Fantasy, so it's like no problem me doing these extra steps, but it would be so much more convenient if just because I had that data, I could do stuff with that data, but I can't do that quite here, which is a bummer. That said, I like this DLC a lot. It does some more to round out some of the Avalanche conflict stuff a little bit, although I'm still not entirely clear on what the complete politics of the people that Yuffie and Sonon made initial contact with were. Like, some of them are counterfeiters and like people who are allowing people to move freely throughout the city, and then the others like kind of twiddle their thumbs in a way that like Barrett's group certainly doesn't, in a way that Yuffie and Sonon definitely don't. There's a point in here where Sonon's like, we should have joined with those other people, because there's a certain degree to which the group of mainline Avalanche people that Yuffie and Sonon met, not like the people with the like there's a paramilitary version, there's Barrett's group, and then there's like these other ones, these like more generic cells. They were like, this, like that last group felt like really anemic in a way that was kind of curious. This rounds out the Wutai stuff, which is good. All the stuff with Yuffie is great, and she might be my favorite character to play as in these games so far. So who knows, heading into the future, she might stay inside my party a lot. It depends. I will stream through, I think, a playthrough of Remake on PS5. I'm super busy. I have to travel in a week. I want to get my Skies of Arcadia thing written. I've been so bad about that because of a mixture of being busy for work and depression and everything else. There's a lot of things I want to do. I want to spend time with friends and people I care about too. So it's like, I'll figure it out. But we will eventually get back to FF VII Remake. So thank you folks who were watching. 5 to 10, maybe 15 minutes before I end up doing Guilty Gear. And laughing. Maybe we'll do some story mode stuff. We'll see. I'll see you in a bit. Goodbye.